Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm your host, Tricia Carr. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited about today's show. We were running behind, if you happen to be watching live, and it turns out it's because we were waiting for 11:11 to happen, and that's exactly when we started the show. So 11:11, even if you're listening in an archive, you can celebrate 11:11 with us right now. So thank you for being here with me, and I would love to invite you to watch it in the archives or live, however you would like to join us. You can search in iTunes or however you receive your podcast for Charmed Life with Tricia Carr. Please do like, subscribe, share, and comment, review, whatever's available, because that does bump us up in the algorithm, and it allows you to engage your light even more profoundly with this programming, and I appreciate it. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Tricia Carr. I want to say hello to the Lightworkers Lab, an online spiritual community hosted on Facebook, founded by my dear, amazing, luminous friend, Crystal Compton. This community is one that is of resource, education, expression, and support. So find us on Facebook. I am a moderator and a head teacher there. By just going to Facebook and looking for the Lightworkers Lab, it'll show up as a group. I have my own group, and you can find that by searching facebook.com/groups/charmedlifelove. And without further delay, I would love to welcome my in-studio guest. He was here about a month and a half ago. He is a healer and also a QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner, and his name is Jeroen DeWitt.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here again.
Everyone.
We have so much to talk about. We had to have you on a second time and maybe a fourth and 12th time.
I'm so excited to be back here.
I'll bring your mic a little bit closer for us. Thank you. So we wanted to talk about we wanted to dig a little deeper into quantum healing hypnosis technique. And if you aren't familiar with this particular modality, why don't you give us a little overview again, since you are the expert?
Sure. So quantum healing hypnosis technique was developed by Dolores Cannon, and she took quite a while coming to the point where she was with it before she died. She started back in the 60s. She was trained in traditional hypnosis, and gradually she by accident, actually, she regressed somebody into a past life.
Yes.
And so at the time, there was no literature about it. Nobody really knew about reincarnation or past lives. And so this courageous lady, coming from the Midwest and from a religious background, courageously went forward with it and was able to regress more people and started documenting it. And so she changed the technique over time to incorporate past life. She was fascinated by it. She didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think in the 80s or 90s, she started working with people that had been abducted by aliens.
Right. That's when the big abduction program was going, or the hybrid children program is what they say was going on. The Greys, yeah.
That's when it came to light. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so in doing that, she found out that these aliens that we only knew through horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and as the bad guys,
Mm-hmm.
It turned out that the ones that she was in contact with through her clients were all very benevolent ones.
Yes.
And they were our people from a different realm, different galaxy,
Right.
just checking in on us and making sure that our systems were running optimally and to see that we were still on mission.
And this is actually that you bring that particular part of her work to light today, because we are still in the midst of the Lionsgate portal being open, which is overseen by the Lyrans, who are the benevolent
Yes.
ultradimensionals or transdimensionals, ETs from the Lyra
I didn't even know that.
constellation. Yeah.
Yeah, but I must say, like, the eclipse season is, like, hitting me hard.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
It's knocking me out, brain fog all over the place.
Yeah. And, we're in Mercury retrograde, too, as we record this. And this Mercury retrograde, I actually did gain a deep appreciation for it, kicking and screaming because my computer was doing this. But every single thing that went wrong technologically or something, or with communication, I was just like, okay, thank you. I know I'm learning something. And I could find a way that I was just deepening my awareness about something. I didn't tick that box on the thing. And I'm like, seriously, I didn't even know that box existed. Right. I swear I've never ticked the box. But this time, technology was like, yeah, you're going to start ticking the box. We're sick of you not ticking the box. But also in just communications. And so anyway, back to...
that was the 80s and 90s, and then she found out that people were getting healing experiences through this process. Mm-hmm. And so, again, she modified the technique to incorporate what she called the subconscious or higher self. So she found out that there's a part to us that people relate to as the soul or the higher self, and she was able to access it through this technique and sort of get the metaphysical backstory to a person's life and get healing as well.
Now, was I forget her name, the Blavatsky?
Dolores Cannon?
No, Blavatsky.
Oh, Blavatsky, yeah.
Yeah, you know, from because that work preceded Dolores's, although it wasn't so widely. I mean, we didn't have the internet, so how could she even find it? I'm just curious if that at some point, do you know if that at some point the work that was going on with the spiritualist churches and everything, and if that's, she found that at some point and was like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one who's discovering this stuff?
That's interesting. I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I haven't heard her talk about that either.
I don't know. I mean, what I do know is that when I met her, I worked with her, before she died, but I met her and she just looks like a church lady from the Midwest.
She sounds like it
perm, and she didn't seem like somebody who would have interest in that or would be. She didn't look like a Madame Zelda with like a crystal ball. Yeah.
Yes, and she sounds like it too. Like
exactly.
If you go listen to old videos of Dolores Cannon, she just sounds like your grandma. She's got this kind of cute accent or cadence that's very folksy.
Folksy, that's a good word. Yeah.
She kind of sounds like my father-in-law, actually.
Oh, really?
His family's like mostly from Ohio.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So the way, it's really cute.
And then she opens her mouth and all this sort of expanded galactic knowledge just falls out.
And she always acts, every time I would hear her speak, she'll speak about it, but then she'll act like, isn't that amazing? Like, I mean, she's been pulling this through for decades.
Right.
And then she'd be like, well, and then they told me that, the higher self can heal you.
Right.
The aliens told me.
Right.
That's a pretty good impression, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
I channeled her.
You should change careers. Yeah.
So anyway, Dolores, this is this phenomenal woman. She's also the author, if you haven't heard of her, of a series of books called The Convoluted Universe, based upon, a lot of it upon the information she was receiving from these benevolent ETs about how the galaxy is functioning and this whole
exactly. So all of
arena.
her books, exactly. All of her books are client experiences. So she would regress people, and then this amazing information will come out, different subjects about aliens, but also about mythological creatures and legends of Atlantis and pyramids, and it was quite expanded and wonderful.
I had an appointment with Jeroen, and my regression we seem to go back to, seems like kind of like Lemuria.
Oh, we did. I don't remember.
You don't remember? I know. Yeah. I don't remember things from my sessions either. So because you're deep in the intuitive space. Well, I regressed back to, I didn't find myself very attractive. It was sort of this diminutive, hairy.
Were you the leprechaun?
Yeah, something like a leprechaun, transdimensional kind of. Yes, I'm the leprechaun.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was interesting because it was real. We were physical beings,
right? Who
could, also we could transition. We could go into subdimensions and we could be transdimensional.
Right.
But I went into the experience of being very physical, and so when we finished, we both thought it felt like Lemuria. I mean, I didn't specifically hear that say that in the dream, or dream. It is kind of like a dream, actually.
It's kind of like a dream, right? And so, I do get a feeling of the vibration or the energy. So, and so I've worked with many different people and sort of recognized different energies, I suppose. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm trying to remember what session it was. Was it where you lived in like a rural area and then sort of the humans came in and they sort of...
Yes, I think they were humans. I just, in the experience, I just kept referring to them as being tall.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was a good session.
But they were basically humans, yes, exactly. Yeah. And we were humanoid,
right?
But just totally different. It was like we were more dwarf compared to them.
Right.
And they were slender. I can picture what I was seeing and how it was. But really, if I compare it to this context, they were just people.
Right.
But they just seemed so long and,
From your perspective.
Yeah, they were just so skinny and tall, and it was weird because we were like blocks.
Right.
I wasn't a cute little woodland fairy, no.
And it's so surprising to people. It was so much fun for me to watch. Like yesterday, I had this lady come in, and so I had her look. She was in a field, and I had to look down on her body, and she goes, oh, my legs are all hairy.
Yes, exactly what I found my feet first. I looked at my feet and I was like, they're hairy and stubby. And I'm like, dang it. Can't I be adorable and luminous and like have some purple
a beautiful Atlantean
hair?
priestess, purple hair.
No.
Nice dress on.
Yeah, some hairy dude. No offense to the hairy dudes.
Thank you.
My husband is a hairy dude.
I'm a hairy dude too. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I want to mention to my regular listeners that unfortunately, Jarvis Essex, who has been producing my show for a while, is no longer with us. And so I just wanted to mention that. And thank you so much for always loving Jarvis. And of course, we appreciate his contribution. But we did say goodbye. He's moved on. And so I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to Jarvis. And thank you all for embracing and loving Jarvis as a part of Charmed Life. But stick around because we're still here. All right. So anyway,
going back to QHHT, Dolores' credit, she developed this technique, and so lots of people practice it now, and so it helps people to connect with their higher self and to get a peek underneath the hood.
Yes.
To see what's going on, behind the scenes of your life.
And behind the scenes of the lives, we went between lives. We went to planning the life.
Yeah. So people refer to this as past life regression at first, and then it just didn't cover the whole,
I know.
The whole outlandish things that can happen, because people can go to past lives, but also future lives.
Alternate, parallel, yeah.
All that. And then, late alien lives, different galaxies, different dimensions, animal lives. I've had people be part of the atmosphere, or one of them was like a boulder wedged in between two rocks as a lifetime. So anything is possible.
It's amazing.
So there might be somebody in here right now. I mean, nothing is void of consciousness.
Exactly. Everything is alive. Everything is sentient or conscious, or,
exactly.
Because everything is energy, and energy is alive.
Yes.
So, with... I got chills when you said people being the atmosphere. That I need to go explore that, because that really
that hit a nerve.
That did. I was like, yeah, I know what that is. The first time, I should say, I remember hearing Dolores talk about basically, she'd been regressing to past lives, and then suddenly there was some kind of veil that was lifted. I don't remember if it was a conversation with some ETs or if it literally just happened in a session where it wasn't a timeline behind the client. And it was sort of like she had to have this, it's an awakening, to wake up to time isn't linear.
Right.
And she was saying no, because she'd been doing it for so long and she just couldn't fit that understanding or belief in.
Right.
And then she said, well, wait, if I do that, then I'm going to be just like the church. And, I'm going to be restricting what may be truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I think she was extraordinary that way. That all of her books, I think, start with, she describes how all of the information kept expanding her mind, and that she calls them they, sort of the higher self or God, consciousness, source, whatever word you have for that, sort of spoon fed it to her. First it was past lives, and then it was aliens, and then it just blew it right open.
Then it blew it all open, right?
Yeah.
I know, it's interesting because we still say past life regression, but I don't know. We need to come up with some other word for it, because when I regress myself in meditation, it could be parallel, or it could be future.
You're correct. And so this is why the name was changed to quantum healing hypnosis technique.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're absolutely correct. So what we're finding out is that there's no time. Only time is a human or a three-dimensional construct, and it's helpful on the planet to learn certain things, but that in other layers of consciousness, there's no time. Right. Everything seems to be happening right now, which is for my human mind is difficult to comprehend. It's but the kind of model that I use is that there's our soul, which is sort of a little bit more individuated from source, and it chooses to extend out in all these different experiences, and they're all happening at once somehow.
And it's interesting because with my clients, if they're animal clients in particular, if their animal is past, I'm doing animal mediumship, and they'll be asking if their animal is a reincarnation of this, that, and it's kind of interesting because you can look at things linearly like that.
Yes.
I'm looking at a past life, I'm reincarnated as this, and I'm looking at a particular timeline, and this energy flows this way. But it's that life still exists, and so when you do, it's just can blow your mind. So it's helpful sometimes to look at it linearly so that we can kind of ground
it into
it.
Human consciousness.
Exactly, fit it in.
Make it make sense. Right.
And I explain, it's yes, your animal is interested in coming. This personality is interested, basically sending energy into your next animal, but you will still be able to, the oversoul can always activate that personality,
totally.
that ascended consciousness of that personality.
Yeah.
And that's where you just kind of go and you got to just kind of relax.
Yeah, this is, trying to understand it from human sort of linear thinking, it can get you into trouble in a sense that you'll be putting caps on the experience that you can have in a session, but also for me as a practitioner. So sometimes you'll find people go to their in-between life state, and there's the souls of people that are currently alive. They're right there. So we're existing in many different dimensions and I guess many different times, or we're all existing in many different layers.
Well, I spoke about this a couple of shows ago. I had a visitation from Prince 2 years before he passed.
Wow.
But it was like an astral projection. It was an astral dream. And I was like, that was Prince visiting me as a spirit guide.
Right.
And I was super excited about it because I love the idea of having Prince as a spirit guide.
Right.
But it resonates with me very much. And, he's obviously was quite a special soul here on this planet.
Right.
So, it is, when in my life between life time in our session, I couldn't even tell what life I was going into. It almost didn't matter. It was just about the process of what happens, and I learned a lot about the process.
You mean the process of going into lives or being in between?
Being in between and the planning stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Do we have a caller, Kurt? Oh, okay, great. So Kurt, by the way, hello, Kurt, is producing today.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry.
That's all right. I just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Are we blowing your mind?
You are, actually.
Okay.
I'm learning a lot. So.
It happens.
I'm trying to take it all in. So
yeah.
I'm not used to all of this spiritualness.
Really,
so,
but you probably engineer some other shows that are psychic and stuff, but this is kind of way out there.
Well, no, I'm not going to say way out there. It's just, it's a lot to take in at first. So it's very fascinating. It's very interesting. But yes, we do have callers.
All right, great. Well, let's take a call.
Yeah.
Hello, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, this is Julie.
Julie? Hi, Julie. We have Jeroen on with us. How are you?
Great.
What's going on with you today?
Well, I have a question about my mediumship journey and tuning in that way. I'm kind of interested in what your perception is of my destination with that. I know my own perception, my own feelings, my own thoughts on the journey and what the destination will hold for me, but I'd like to get another perspective.
Okay. Jeroen, do you have anything? Are you picking anything up, or would you like me to start?
Start, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I was drawn to, Julie, is high heart. We have our heart chakra, and it actually kind of expresses in two ways. And there's a high heart aspect, and I'm feeling that there is some inner work to do there around the high heart. And really, it's always the shortcut is self-love. So cultivating that deep self-love just a little bit more. It feels like you might want to slow down in some areas of the life. It feels like you're maybe getting a little overwhelmed with some of the relationships and folks that are, I want to say, asking for you to maintain them, and there's a lot of high maintenance going on, and you can draw your energy back from that even if you can't draw back the actual literal work. You know what I mean? Does this make some sense to you?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah. So
it does. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So because you can keep, for example, sometimes people, they have high maintenance children, and obviously you can't stop maintaining your children, but you can kind of pull your energy in a little bit about it so that it is a little bit more balanced. And is it literally your children? If you don't mind my asking. Yeah. Okay.
You're asking if it's my children? I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
Yeah. Are your do you have children that are kind of requiring a lot of stuff right now? Maintenance?
No, they're all grown.
Oh,
no,
okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they're okay in life.
Okay, good. Well, my headphone kind of cracked out there. But I do also pick up you are very, very talented at it. So you're one of these. Did you have experiences when you were a teenager? Is that when some phenomena started to show up for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
I did have experience, but I didn't understand,
Sure, exactly. So when we have experiences like that, when we didn't really plan to and everything, there is a plan for it. It's just more on the subconscious level or more about the higher self. But it is evidence for you that you are very talented at it naturally. You're a natural energetic match to this work. And so, yes, I see you helping very many people. You have such a great presence about you when you're doing this. Your connection is really strong. And to move forward in it in a way that is sort of full expression of it, career and full ministry and everything, just wants some more of that high heart healing and deepening some of the that self-love. And then and the literal now is drawing in some of that energy where you might be being pulled around a lot. Does that make sense to you?
I appreciate that. Yes, it does.
Yes, I feel
Thanks so much.
very big. I feel a very big expression of it, though. We really need you doing this work fully because it's such a healing to us all.
Thank you so much for that. That's so kind.
Oh, of course. Thank you. You have anything to add?
That's so beautiful how you picked all that stuff up. So, and I was just listening as well. I don't work as a medium, but I was just having it resonate inside of me. And so what came forward for me is joy, to be in a moment, to help you be in a moment instead of sort of reaching for what's ahead and sort of putting your mind into the future, but being in the here and now and using joy for that to find the little things in life that make you feel joyful. Because it's the way that we build relationship with ourselves. And the more we build relationship with ourselves, the more we trust ourselves, the more we trust our messages that are coming in. That's my
Yes,
2 cents.
Amen.
Yeah.
That reminds me
Love it.
The other day that when I was teaching a class and for my animal communication class, and the way the teaching came through was, in order to be a co-creator, we have to trust and love and believe in ourselves as a creator.
Exactly.
That's where it starts.
Right.
In order to be in the relationship of co-creation. And so that, again, I love, so far as the self-love is concerned, joy. Just focus upon that joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you both so much.
Thank you for calling.
Have a wonderful rest of the call.
Thank you.
And the radio show.
Thank you, darling. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That was fun. She's sweet, huh?
Yeah.
Can you feel that energy?
Thanks for calling in.
We'll take another call here in a moment. Let's, with our discussion, we were talking about some of that between life and a peek behind the curtain, looking under the hood.
Right.
And people actually experience some physical healing when they do this work as well.
They do, yeah. So, yeah, that really happens. A lot of people come in with questions about, like, ailments that they have right now. If it's something from a past life, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be something from this lifetime as well. But whatever's going on in our lives, it's purposeful. From my perspective, I can't say that I know the truth of everything, but through my work, everything is purposeful. There's a reason for it. So also physical ailments, it's our body talking in one way or another. And so it helps to pay attention to it.
Yes.
And so even if things have been brought in from a past life, it's not that there's a flaw in the system. It's been brought into this life to help propel people into certain areas of their life that they need to be looking at, or how it was scripted. Yeah.
Right. And if you think about it, I mean, that's the benefit of when you complete a life and then you review it and then you say, okay, the lessons that I worked on, all the work I did in that, and what do I want to continue working on or enhancing in the next plan? And so that's why the past life experiences will be there for us. They're always much more muted than what actually happened. If you're having, like, I remember hearing someone's story about she was having some chronic, I don't know if it was throat issues, something with her throat. Oh, her jaw locked up. There was all this stuff going on. And then she did a regression and she saw herself as a slave being chained by the jaw.
Right.
And it was chronic and the doctors couldn't figure it out, and then it healed after that.
Right.
But the energy beneath that, so obviously having your jaw locked up is terrible, but not as bad as being a slave chained by your jaw.
Exactly, yeah. Way less bad, yeah. Yeah, and so then I'm finding out that there's a purpose for that to be present in the current life, that there's a reason why we're processing it now. There's understanding that comes from it about who we are in the universe and in our earthly life as well. So
you can imagine with that particular person feeling freedom and recognizing that she is free to live and express herself, in this life. Nobody or at least in her context, people aren't being chained and enslaved, and that is not a threat for her. But what are the underlying ways that she could free herself and all of that kind of stuff? That's what I try to do when I do some kind of alternate or life review of some kind. Right. Or just review the particular, it could be a physical symptom, illness, or it could be an event. Right. Look at everything is a story. And so look at the symbolism of it. Everything is a symbol. We're symbols of source energy. Right, exactly. So I can use an example from my own experience. So I had a lifetime where I was part of the Inquisition. Oh, no. And not one of the victims. I was one of the perpetrators. I was this guy who was just judging people left and right for their beliefs and sending them to the
being hanged or having their heads chopped off. And so in that lifetime, when I got older, I realized what I'd been doing, and I felt so bad, so that I ostracized myself from any human contact and kind of died in this little shack somewhere in a forest, feeling like I was unforgivable.
Right.
Unforgivable, like who I was in that life. It's completely like I felt so bad about what I had done. Unknowingly, I thought I was doing the right thing. But so part of that energy was part of my current lifetime.
Right.
To have me experience the contraction of what it feels like to not be in your sort of sense of your own creatorness or your own sense of being source.
Right.
So to experience the contrast, because this is what we do here on the planet. And so that energy was brought in to have me experience that, and also to propel me forward into to have the journey of moving back into wholeness, or being part of feeling like I'm creator as well.
Right.
Yeah. And so this journey is very, very specific and unique to all of us. And then once we go through that, we hold that medicine that we can impart to others.
We hold that medicine.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Ooh, you hold the medicine. Oh,
you
I
hold
like
the medicine, yes. And so, I have the privilege of being made part of people's life before we do this regression. I talk to people as you experience as well. So I get a full scope of who they are. And doing this work for years and years and years, I've seen patterns emerge. So from my perspective, the people that I've encountered, I can't say this is true for all across the board, but that all the experiences that we're having that are contracting, difficult, challenging, are on purpose. They're scripted for us to get to know the truth of who we are, which is we are a source expressed on the planet. And we are the point the universe is trying to make, meaning all of us. I mean, all of us who we are, all aspects of us. So, we might have judged ourselves for certain places. Like myself, I judged myself in the past for having a certain experience of my own gender. It didn't fit in the binary. And then being gay was difficult. So there's many, many different ways that we can judge ourselves for, body image, for physical shape, for our race, for our gender, our sense of identity.
For being a medium or a healer.
Exactly, I was just going to get there. For being sort of more spiritually oriented.
Yes.
So all of these aspects that we just mentioned, and then the ones that we don't even have language for, they're all very, very purposeful. And so the more we embrace all of these aspects, the more access we have to the creator of who we are, because then we're expressing it in just the way that we came here to express.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So it's all purposeful, that we're all different, we're all expressing different. It's how it's supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah. Amen.
It's like, I like the, what is that? I can't think of the word right now, but like we're all different sort of lenses for source to shine through onto the planet.
Right.
And instead of being concerned with, their lens is more beautiful or has a bigger curvature, get with the business of like polishing your own lens and celebrating what you came here to bring.
Because what you came here to bring, because we need that. That is what
that
makes
is being
this
of service.
song.
That's being of service, being completely in love with yourself and expressing everything that you are.
Yes.
Because that's very, very purposeful, and it's healing for others because you are expressing source instead of judgment and smallness. Yeah.
And that's what the sort of unevolved conditioning of the world, as we're brought up, the conventional thinking is that it's somehow virtuous to judge yourself and to punish yourself and to think poorly of yourself. And, I had a client recently and I was talking about self-love, and she was just saying that, I just have to kind of release this idea of being, I think it was self-centered. I can't even remember the word. Vain was what she was kind of grew up with, this script of don't be vain. And so self-love somehow means being vain. And, she could feel that it's not, but, pursuing something like self-love, sometimes we have to drop some of those old conditioning, all of those old habits and the things that we actually brought us out of sovereignty, personal sovereignty, and, we're imposed from without.
So much of that. Yeah, we've been in a society on the planet that has been conditioning us to believe that we're just these bags of skin and bones, and we're just going through life making sure that we have food to put into our bodies, and we get jobs in order to do that, and just have the happiest life as possible. But we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and so we are vast multidimensional beings. We're part of Source, so we have to have all these different experiences of like mediumship, or talking to beings, or being empathic, being talking to plants or to animals, to be in relationship with your natural environment. That's all part of who we are. And that's not weird or woo-woo or crazy. It's normal.
It's natural. It's more normal than
it's more normal than what we've been in.
than the other stuff we get up to.
Yes. And so the more we inch into embracing who we are, the more we are in relationship with ourselves, the more we can be in relationship with our environment and people, and have more compassion for ourselves and for others. And so that's from my perspective, that's how we uncover those layers, or recover those parts of ourselves.
Right. Bring them back in the
face of the conditioning that's been out there.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Hey, let's take another call. We still have some calls? Okay, cool. Let's take another caller. And hello, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, this is Joanne.
Hi, Joanne. We have
Joanne.
Jeroen with us. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you guys?
We're wonderful. What's going on with you today?
A lot.
Oh, okay.
I just was wondering what you see going on with me, because a lot of changes are happening.
Well, we are in the energies, the cosmic energies being offered right now are definitely, I mean, a lot of people are feeling that, because that is kind of where we are astrologically, cosmically speaking. And so what I am feeling is that as you these changes are coming up, and they're a little bit, they seem like they're going to be scary. Change is scary for the mind that is oriented to the physical or the ego. And by ego, I don't mean, egotistical or something like that, those words. I mean the part of you that is the survival instinct, and the part of the mind that is oriented to that fears change. And any change, even if it is, let's say, something that is on the face devastating or difficult, like you get fired or you have to move right suddenly, something happens where you have to move, we always have the choice to face it and expect that there is a great outcome on the other side. Expect that there is a loving reason, as Jeroen is actually telling us. Everything is there, brought to our inner being is bringing it to us so that we can heal, so that we can get on that intentional path of love even more distinctly. But I feel like there's some of those are actually positive changes, right? But they're still scary. Is that right, Joanne?
Yeah, I think they're going to be positive. We're moving.
Okay.
It came on suddenly.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about it, but we're moving, and it's just scary. And my son is leaving, even though he's a grown, I call him the man-child. Even though he's, grown, he's moving cross country. I'm worried about that,
Yeah, that's your baby.
Yeah.
And now just think about it this way. If you can click into the expectation of love, because you know how to vibrate to love. You know what love feels like. So that if you're able to do that, then you're going to be seeing and orienting to the loving choices and the things in all of the situations. So it's going to help you to pick the right mover. It's going to help you to pick the right, home if you haven't gotten there yet. All of that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about the law of attraction, or how energy attracts to itself, but you can even kind of see it in the physical life. If I am looking for love, I will find love in my day-to-day life. And the way you look for love is really just to identify with it and just affirm. I think some affirmation practice would be good for you at this time. I wonder what good will come of this is kind of an open-ended affirmation, that I wonder what good will come of this can kind of tune you to be able to see that there is some kind of beauty that is actually unfolding before you. Yeah, but it would just...
Yeah, I mean, we found a house. We didn't sell our house yet, so I'm a little worried about that. But the home that we're in now, my mom had lived with us, and she passed, so I feel like it's a good thing because, it's good memories, but it's a constant reminder,
Sure. Time to just move forward with the energy and, release some energy that is just, it's served, and we're going to move forward. How about, Jeroen, do you have some thoughts?
If I may chime in a little bit, the first thing that I picked up on is some sadness. I feel it in my chest right here, and when I sort of looked into it, I I found sort of a younger version of you, a little girl that maybe wasn't informed or wasn't being made part of changes that were happening in her life. Maybe caregivers or parents that didn't have the sensitivity to really be with that little girl at the time when you were younger and to really explain to her what was happening, and also to ask her opinion and how do you feel about it, and to make sure that she felt secure going through this. So my advice would be to allow your feelings to come up about sadness and to check in with yourself and to talk to this little person inside of yourself and to say, hey, I'm going to be here for you. I'm a grown woman. I know how to take care of the worldly things. And I hear you. I hear that this is scary for you. And you're part of me. You're my little girl. And I love you.
That's beautiful. Great advice. Huh. Yeah. You think you could do that? You think you could do that, Joanne? Go give her some loving, that little girl?
I hope so. I was wondering, do you feel my mom, like, with any messages, or does she, I mean, obviously she knows all this is happening.
Mom is, was she slender?
No, not really, no.
Okay. Maybe I'm not really tapping in with her right now. Was it about 2 years ago?
Yeah, like 19 months.
Okay, so not quite 2 years. Okay, well, I'm not getting a clairvoyant image of her then, I suppose. But so 19 months, she could still be doing some of that work. So let me just see if I can pick up on someone else in there. So your angels are close by, and who is this angel that you're working with? Oh, you work with Jophiel, who is this, who's the archangel who oversees beauty. And I think this is something you love to take care of your home, yes? And did your mother as well? Was this a connection you had with your mother about having a home that is very, is beautified and it feels really good? Did you have this connection with your mom?
No, we really weren't. I mean, we had a connection in the home. You know, she was here with us. I mean, that might be.
Yeah, maybe it's the love then. So let me just check in. Let's see. So Mom is, so Mom's finished the life review process. If you're not familiar with that, we've talked about it a little bit here on the show. And she's doing some schooling. This is what I get from your angel guides. And she's doing some study and some school and planning to come back and oversee the family. Right now it's interesting because I see her far away in your field and more on your right side, and then she's going to be coming in on the left side, and you'll be feeling her a bit closer. And so if that's what the plan is, that's where we are insofar as your perspective of where we're moving with it. But your angels are really close to you, and you have phenomenal angelic energy around you. Just that you vibrate that to others. I think you know that you really are a comfort to others and really caring.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes, I think I am. I hope so.
Yeah. I would say if you want to check back with either me or another medium in 6 months or something like that, or if you want to see if, or just maybe someone else will have a different connection than I'm getting right now on this limited, show.
Right.
But it feels to me like Mom is doing some school and doing that kind of study on the other side. We actually have like universities and really phenomenal stuff that we experience on the other side. And that's what I get about it. But, those angelic guides are there for you.
All right. Thank you both so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling, Joanne.
Thank you for calling.
Have a good day.
You too.
As well.
Wow, that's amazing. Bye. It's amazing your confidence in how you do that. I was starting, I feel things in my body. It just resonates. But like what you were doing, tapping in, I was like, oh, I wonder what it feels like. Where's her mom? And I did feel her sort of on the right side of her and sort of removed, but I don't know. I
saw you when I said that. You were like, and further away.
Yeah, like not busy with something else now. Yeah.
I think that's why I saw her as slender, because I was not seeing a full image. It's like I
saw like a wispy, sort of elongated, like a little white with a little purple or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Wow.
So you do it the same way. You just this is what it is. I teach people to open up all of the. I kind of say I specialize in not specializing, but I say I'm an ambassador of multidimensional connection, and it's all just about tuning.
Beautiful.
And so I like to tune into all of the things, and some people really have a passion for the mediumship, or really have a passion for the archangel realm, or whatever.
Right.
And I like doing all of it, and so anyone can. It's just a matter of tuning, and you're very clairvoyant. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know your
I mean,
clairvoyant, right?
I know I don't have that confidence about it
We
yet.
don't have you just haven't done it.
Yeah.
You don't have the experience. Yeah,
But I know that we all are.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I'm very clairsentient too. Those are my two dominant ways to experience is clairsentience and then clairvoyance. And then, with animals, there's a lot of clairaudience, a lot of speech-like stuff coming through. And it's because the animals I work with are with humans, and the humans are always talking, and you know what I mean? Like,
that's what they do.
Yeah, so they kind of bring through that energy a lot too. So, but yeah, that's great. But it's all, I don't know, even cutting it up into the different ways that we're sensing is not even that important. It just shows up,
Exactly. I mean, I feel like for me as well, like I have some ways to go in sort of accepting those parts of myself even more to know that they're just normal parts of me. Yeah.
Really? Well,
like it feels like, let's see. Like when I'm asked to tap in, I was like, oh, I can't do that. That's not me.
Yeah.
So I have to get over that.
Sure. In this context, I'm used to this context. This is home for me, being doing it live.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you're in a QHHT session, are you having co-visualizations with your
I am, yes.
clients,
No, you're right. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Like I feel like, I'm in my client's shoes, and that's how I work. So I feel, and it helps me to ask questions and some, oftentimes it happens that I'm feeling something or sensing something, and then they say, oh, there's this person right here that I just been feeling, or it goes a certain way where I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. So you just see, do
all
of that. You just do it in a particular context.
Yeah.
And this one's so different. So that's why you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
I actually I have my animal communication class that I'm doing right now. So I have several students, and we do these group practice sessions on Zoom, and I coach them and everything. And this is something I'm talking to them about, because some of them are experienced, some of them are not experienced with animal communication. And some that even if they're experienced, when they're doing it with, like on this video call with a bunch of people around, they're like, I'm like, you know what? This skill of doing it with everyone is not actually important. So don't beat yourself up about how weird it feels.
Right.
Unless you want to do these all the time, it's not really important. But enhancing the skill in a way that is so visceral to you, you know it so well that it can, even if you're uncomfortable because of your sensitivity and the energy of being aware of everything, it just snaps in. So yeah,
that's really amazing.
And it's different. Like I've also had a client, and the first time she did like a Facebook Live where she was getting readings just by looking at the person's name and their request in a comment, and she was like, I've never done, like, I don't know if I can do that because I'm used to being with the person or talking to them or something, but it just happened, you know what I mean? Like, she was like, I was so blown away because spirit just showed up and I had all this information. So
I've had those experiences as well, but to do it on command and with all this stuff going on, that seems to be very daunting to me.
Just
I applaud
takes
you for that.
Well, I've been doing this show for a while now, and actually the Facebook Lives too. I've been doing those for a while, and it really makes this muscle really strong because you just have to go. You just have to say what it is. And if they say no, then you go, okay, then I feel a little deeper.
Right. And to not make it wrong or say, oh my God, I just
that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Keep snapping back into that self-love, and know that the reason that you're bringing anything through or trying to bring anything through is all healing and love. So it can't go wrong.
Right.
And that's what they're asking for too, is more love.
Right.
So yeah, it's just
Oh, beautiful.
So where were we with our conversation? We were talking about some of the healing that you could do. We were talking about the lives between lives and just cultivating the self-love. What are maybe is there another experience, and a standout experience where a client sort of was able to tap into that self-love or the experience that the oversoul or the soul the higher self can give us to be able to come into that integration with the self? Or your own, whether clients or your own.
I mean, there's so many. Sometimes it comes through lifetimes being experienced where people were very, very powerful, or powerful in a way that they were trusting themselves. Because that's a very key word that comes up over and over. Because people come in with like, how can I move forward? How can I feel more free within myself? And it's always back to trusting yourself, and if there's any judgments that have been present inside of us, to forgive ourselves for the judgments of smallness, not good enough, not worthy. All those, when they're being resolved, we move into the oneness and to the truth of who we are. So it can come through thank God I remember yesterday's session because they all like become a blur after a while.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, so this woman that I saw yesterday, she had a beautiful experience where she was a leader of a tribe somewhere. Mm-hmm. She was a woman in that lifetime as well, and she felt very, very powerful. I mean, meaning not the kind of power like to make other people feel bad or to make them feel small, but just very, very powerful within herself. She had access to her higher knowing, and she's being recognized for it. So that feeling was very, very helpful for her to experience in her lifetime right now, because she wasn't experiencing it yesterday. Right. Yeah, up until yesterday. So that's a way, and then another way is to, like yesterday as well, this woman went into the in-between life state, and so we're exploring the realm. And so I have my questions that I ask, and she said, oh, there's other beings here, which is very, very common. And one of them was her father, who had just passed away. And so to have that experience of sort of reconciliation and to find that support, and to be told from these people that were key in your lifetime right now that you're on the right track, and that they're proud of you, and it's very, very healing in that sense. Yeah,
that's beautiful. To
release those judgments of ourselves that we have split our light. Yeah, and so these kind of experiences can help reintegrate those parts.
Bring back some more of that soul light. Yes. Allow it in,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Just last week, the show that with the guest that I don't remember what we were discussing, but somehow it came out. I said I think that's the original. I said the original sin is, of course, something that is like from the Bible, but there's a lot of wisdom in all of the sacred texts, and I think that the wisdom sometimes is lost because of, we have antiquated and judgmental expectation, all this kind of stuff. But literally what I said was the original sin is trying to believe something about yourself that isn't true, essentially creating that separation.
It's
and
judgment.
That judgment and somehow that you don't love yourself. Some way of rejecting yourself is like really the original sin.
That's the fall from grace in my perspective.
Yes, absolutely.
It's judgment, self-judgment, because there's no... I mean, I'm supposed, like, people that are listening to your show, I don't think there must not be Bible thumpers, but...
no, they're not, but a lot of them are... I come from the church.
Right.
I was in evangelical Christianity, so I do attract people who are, like, who have come from it.
Recovering.
Recovering, exactly.
Right. Yeah, so there's no judging God from my perspective.
Right.
So it's all love, and it's all love. And so... It's the judgment that we go through now to release that, to learn how to expand into the beauty and the sourceness of who we are.
The unconditional.
Yeah, to let go of all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but I'm having a senior moment.
I hope not. We're about the same age. But there is no judgment in the universe. There's no judgment. There is no judging God. How could there be a judging God if everything is God?
Exactly.
How could I my finger is hurt. How could I be judgmental of my finger for causing me pain, or you know what I mean? Like, I just want to love and bring back that finger,
right,
and into wellness and into wholeness.
Right.
That's just what the universe is. There's no judgment in nature. We can see that.
It just is.
It is. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
When the cheetah is chasing the gazelle is, has a survival instinct, but the moment these things they're always so difficult, because I'm voting for the cheetah,
of course,
because they have to expend so much energy. They sometimes could die if they don't get that meal.
Right.
But then when he actually gets the gazelle, then I'm like, it's just such a place to be in, like from having
a human perspective,
and the sensitivity about all of the creatures.
Yeah.
But the gazelle, and what's amazing is that the cheetah actually naturally is more, we would say humane is the wrong word for it, but will actually bring down that animal in the easiest way. The swiftest way,
right,
which actually biologically speaking is better for him too, because there's less fear hormone deposited into the gazelle's tissues,
right,
which makes it more palatable and more healthy for him.
Right.
But when the gazelle is caught, he just is that peace of release. And I don't know, I got on this thing, but we're talking about no judgment.
Right.
And the gazelle isn't in judgment of the cheetah, even if there's during the moment where he is in the survival stage.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's a long. I've got quite a ways to go for that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm there sometimes, but of course I'm so sensitive other times, and
that's what's for me as well.
Yes. And that's the journey, exactly, is witnessing that about yourself, holding that space for yourself.
Right.
You know, when you talk about diet or something like that, my main thing to tell people is, well, if it hurts you, then don't eat it. Whatever it is, like if it's hurting your heart,
right.
That's not for, you're not ready for that, or whatever. There's work to be done.
Right.
And you aren't ready for that. And that's, it's, so for me that extends to vegetation as well, because those are just as alive.
Everything is alive. Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I mean, obviously that's how, vegetation being treated with pesticides and chemicals that are harmful, that's harmful for the entire ecosystem. So it literally is harming us.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, if that's all you have and that's where you are in this moment, then you can't judge yourself for needing to eat the non-organic or the whatever.
Exactly.
But you can actually bless and redeem it with your deepening your awareness about it. I'm off on a whole thing.
Beautiful. And I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
Is there time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of people come to me and they ask about life purpose. And a lot of people understand it almost as if there is a sort of a supreme being in the sky. Say it's that.
Here's your assignment.
Yes. Here's that sort of that white guy with a beard that needs anger management up in the sky. That just says like, hey, so-and-so, you're going to go to the planet. You're going to do this horrible job that I know you're going to hate, but guess what? That's your purpose. Off you go. See you later. So that's not what purpose is.
Right.
Purpose is you expressing yourself.
Yes.
Completely. Because when you do that, when you have access to all of yourself, then you'll know what is joyful, what makes you tick, and what makes you come alive.
Yes.
So when you embrace all of that, you're able to express it into the world.
And that, again, is what the world needs. We are nature.
Exactly.
This is an ecosystem. The universe is one song. And so we need whatever chord that you are most, or whatever tone is yours, is what makes this beautiful song.
Nobody does source like you do source.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I have a friend named Patrick Hayes. He's been on the show a couple of times, and he's a musician as well. And I think it's called Your Soul's Plan or something like that. There's this one particular song, and maybe I don't know if it's Your Soul's Plan. No, I think I'm just thinking of the title of the show. But it's something about your soul's purpose or something. And there is this line, this one lyric, right in the middle of the song, like right at the bridge, and he says, "You came here to astonish us. You came here to astonish us."
Oh, I love lyrics like that.
Yeah, I know.
So
and
supporting.
And so beautiful, and so such sincerity. So go check out Patrick Hayes' work, Haize. He's really awesome. He'll be on the show again sometime. So thank you for that. Thank you for pointing that out about the purpose. That is something that healers get asked all the time. They want to know what their purpose is.
Right.
And that, I think that sometimes people think that it's like, quit your job as an accountant because you're supposed to be a Reiki master. And it could be. It
could be, but it could also be a transitional place. It could be that you have relationships with people at your accountancy job that are very important for you, for them to learn something. Like I was in It's
deeper than the specifics of the expression of whatever the purpose is.
Exactly. I was in a job before I started doing this work full time as well.
the fake job that you have.
Yeah. But it was time for me to ready my system to open up the circuitry that I was needed to do this work that I'm doing right now.
Yes.
And I'm still expanding. There's more coming. I don't know what it is, but I can feel this nudging. Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, but it's purposeful.
And it is, if specifically at this time. Have you been feeling those cosmic energies? Well, you were saying the eclipse season and everything has just been pretty. I don't know, kind of manic and just like stoking us, right? You've been feeling it a lot.
Yeah, I used to think that I wasn't really sensitive to them, but this year has been, definitely proof that I am. Yeah.
I know, me too. When I first started opening up to these kinds of details about, say, what's happening in astrologically and everything, I thought, well, I guess I'm not sensitive to that, but it's just because I would be going through some kind of thing. I just didn't realize there was also some energy being offered by the cosmos.
Totally.
Yes. So.
And this year seems to be very, very intense. I don't know if you've heard about like the concept of the event.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So that seems to be happening. There's
Still.
a lot of waves of energies that are being beamed onto the planet throughout the whole year. And it's been happening since the harmonic convergence back in the late 80s, I think. But so they've been upping the frequency, and this year is very significant in that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was on a totally, well, I'll say like secular kind of appointment, some kind of work that I was doing, but it wasn't to do with specifically, well, everything is to do with healing, but it wasn't specifically to do with metaphysics or anything. And I swear, every person that I talk to, like I walk into this place and the woman says, well, it's Mercury retrograde. And she just like said it casually to me. And I was like, how did you know I would know what that meant?
You're like, I thought I was with Muggles. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How did you know? She just casually said it. And I was like, yeah. And, not that that's the only thing. But then another person said something that was like, one person said, wow, it takes really deep presence to do that. And I was like, is everybody awake now? I'm happy about
beautiful.
it, but how is this happening?
Right.
But it's that energy, that dispensation, these dispensations of energy, they're just coming through more and more light because we keep saying yes to it and we keep being ready for it. And then it's just kind of like we do one more rep.
Right. And being pushed into it, kicking and screaming sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have been suddenly connecting with Pleiadians.
Oh.
It's like, and what's so crazy about it is that I went back when I discovered, I didn't know really that there's there's 3 different basic races of Pleiadians, and one of them are the Nordics or the Norse. And when I read that somewhere or heard it, I can't remember, I was like, ding, and I went back and searched in my digital journal, because that's how I journal. In 2015, I was speaking to some guide, and I was like, who are you, or what is your name? And the only word that would come through was Norse. And I was like, that's not a name, that's an adjective of people. So what are you talking about?
Right.
And I went and I said, what is it? How am I supposed to work with you or whatever? And the end of the transmission was balance your chakras first. And I was like, okay, I guess it took me 3 years to balance my chakras so I can work with the Pleiadians. I really do think I was starting to get that connection.
And recently they showed up again?
Yes.
Wow.
Really powerfully. I channeled for the first time in person while I was doing it online, Pleiadians, and it was really pretty cool.
Nice.
The energy is really amazing.
I have a connection with them as well.
You do? No surprise.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I think we are just about out of time. Any final words? Actually, let folks know how they can get in touch with you. You offer these QHHT services here in Southern California.
Yes. So I'm in LA. I'm in the Valley. So I have my office there. So I see people Wednesday through Sundays, daily at 1 o'clock. Sessions last between 4 and 5 hours. I also book energy healings in the morning at 11. And then I do group regressions at the Den Meditation and at Liberate Hollywood. I'm going to be doing them at Ceremony and on the West Side and the Mystic Journey Bookstore as well. That one's coming up soon, I think, the 24th.
That's awesome. And your website?
Website, thank you. So it's Source Energy Therapy, and it's hyphenated. So source-energy-therapy.
Great.
Yeah.
Are there any services you offer remotely, like any counseling or healing or anything that is distance?
Sometimes I do. It's not on my website, but yeah, I do that.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Just in case, because I'm sure a lot of people fell in love with you, and I have, we have audience all over the place.
Yeah, so I do. Yeah, counseling. I offer online, and then energy healing combined with that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. Great. Well, this has been a fantastic show. I hope you'll come back again soon.
Me too.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for being here again, Jeroen DeWitt. And thank you all for joining me. My website is triciacarcharm.com. I have some on-demand classes up there. I have my mentoring program. I'm about to accept a few more slots, so go check me out, triciacarcharm.com. And I will see you again next week, live here at 11 a.m. Pacific from Universal Broadcasting Network in Hollywood, California, or any of my social media outlets, which you can find by searching Tricia Carr Charm. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.